The Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter signs an MOU with the military planning to build permanent housing. Thailand Tzu Chi volunteers inaugurates a recycling educational station behind the Jing Si Hall. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Sirisu. Thank you for joining us. This year, several earthquakes struck Indonesia. To help the affected residents, the Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter has signed an MOU with the Indonesian military for the post-disaster recovery efforts. They're planning to build 3,000 permanent homes in the 4 hardest hit areas.
Indonesia's Lombok and the island of Sulawesi suffer strong earthquakes one after another. Tzu Chi has reached out in providing disaster relief by distributing hot foods, financial aid, and needed supplies. They are also planning mid to long-term reconstruction projects. In Jakarta, the Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter signed an MOU with the Indonesian military for post-disaster recovery projects.
It's imperative to help the earthquake-affected residents rebuild their homes. I'm very thankful for the assistance from the participating organizations, especially Tzu Chi Foundation. We will work together to build 3,000 permanent homes.
Tzu Chi is cooperating with some large enterprises in Indonesia to help build a total 3,000 permanent homes in all 4 hardest hit areas. These include Donggala, Palu, Sigi, and Lombok.
Dharma Master Zheng Yan often reminds us that we should help build houses that we ourselves would also want to live in. We also hope that more businessmen will join the Indonesian military and Tzu Chi to contribute their efforts.
We should follow closely the teachings of Dharma Master Zheng Yan. Everyone should work with one heart in doing good deeds. By working together, we can truly benefit the public and cultivate both blessings and wisdom.
The Indonesian military will dispatch at least 800 soldiers who specialize in civil engineering to assist in the construction projects. The goal is to complete this within the next 12 months. This way, the affected residents who are still staying in tense areas and/or temporary shelters can finally have a new home to live in.
In a related story, many earthquake survivors in Indonesia are struggling to rebuild their lives. A vegetable vendor, Sina, used to live in Lombok, which was hit by an earthquake back in August. His home was destroyed, so he made a trip to Palu to try to make a living. Unfortunately, he was met for the second time with another massive earthquake. However, he was not discouraged, and he became motivation for many local affected residents.
As soon as the cart pulled up with the fresh vegetables, all the women from the tents came rushing out. After the earthquake, business suffered greatly. For survival, Sina did whatever it took to make a living. He barely earns anything. It's more about serving the affected residents that gives him hope. His hometown is in Lombok, which was struck by an earthquake back in August. His home was destroyed, and in order to support his 2 children, he especially made the trip to Palu. Unfortunately, he was met with another massive earthquake. However, he was not discouraged by the consecutive disasters.
I'm hoping that I can succeed here. Then I can go back home to start my own business. If there's no one here, then I will go sell in other places.
The mosque immersed in flood water, the streets destroyed. Here was once the beautiful hometown of Kasmayadi. For many years, he has worked in Jakarta. This time, he especially made the trip with his wife and daughters back home for the holidays. Unfortunately, he was met with a massive tsunami, almost forever separating him and his family.
I now cherish every more of the time I have with my family. It's more than precious.
Fortunately, the family is now able to reunite. He is more than ever actively helping out with the Tzu Chi disaster relief distributions.
Many times I would think the reason that I'm still alive today is so that I can do good deeds for those who are less fortunate. I'm very grateful for all that Tzu Chi has done. Therefore, I would like to get involved and help as well.
The power of the family is what keeps them going after such a traumatic disaster. It helps pull them out of the darkness and motivates them to do their best to rebuild their destroyed homeland.
Staying in Indonesia, the tsunami caused by the earthquake Sulawesi Island devastated many families. Indonesian Ministry of Social Affairs joined hands with UNICEF to send specialists to help the families find their lost loved ones.
6-year-old Fikri shows a bright smile because he is finally back in his father's arms. He and his brother were lost when their family escaped the earthquake. Fortunately, they were found after 2 weeks.
When the earthquake occurred, I asked the 2 elder grandchildren to run first because I was holding my youngest grandchild. I asked them to wait for me at the front of the road, but when I got there, they were gone.
In fact, Fikri's case is considered the lucky few. According to statistics from the Ministry of Social Affairs, there are currently more than 70 families waiting to be united again with their loved ones.
Our mission here is to help parents find their lost children. We've continued to work on it, and we hope that all families can reunite like Fikri and his family as soon as possible. The most challenging part is that we need more information to find the lost children.
Half a month after the disaster, Palu is still beginning to recover. Among all the majors, restoring electricity is a prime mission.
After the earthquake, Palu is in chaos. For the past half month, we've been trying our best to repair the electricity. We hope that Palu can have lights again soon.
Governmental departments and charity organizations all over the world are doing all they can to assist Palu in its recovery from the disaster, helping these residents get back to normal life.
The city of Tijuana is located at the junction of the U.S. and Mexico. It's a place where refugees from Central and South America begin their American dreams. When many families flee to Tijuana, they also want to seek protection from the U.S. and Mexico. But things are not as they seem. Many of these families end up staying in halfway houses or shelters set up by charitable organizations. One such charitable organization is the Caritas, which has set up a shelter on the border. Since the rainy season is approaching, U.S. city volunteers went to distribute waterproof tarps, needed supplies, food, and stationery for the 75 families staying there.
The distance between San Diego, California, USA, and Tijuana, Mexico is only just 24 kilometers away. However, it's like 2 totally different worlds. In the city of Tijuana, a shelter was set up by the charity organization, the Caritas, which houses 75 families, but it's in dire conditions.
There are a total of 3 small rooms here, which houses around 300 people, so the environment is really not great. The quilts on the beds all have a strong stench once you enter the rooms.
This shelter was the one that needed the most help. I mean, it's very sad to see all these families, the way they've been living, and how there's not enough beds and enough food, and how they didn't even have a roof.
Seeing that the rainy season is fast approaching, Tzu Chi volunteers brought waterproof tarps with them. This will help give them some coverage for their open-air canteen and activity space. There were also Jing Si multi-purpose folding beds replacing the old beds. Volunteers also went to the local supermarket to buy some groceries and daily supplies for them. What the children were most looking forward to was a whole array of stationery and toys. There were also the Spanish version Jing Si aphorism books that were being admired.
Que ames todo lo que te rodea porque puedes algún día perderlo todo.
Here can become a classroom.
Located nearby, the principal of Tijuana Tzu Chi Elementary School came to care for and arrange teachers to set up a mobile classroom.
This is just an incredible thing to watch Tzu Chi do what they do here, which is here to support and really bring a holistic health and support to this community, to bring food, to bring education, to bring shelter, to bring safety.
Here, it is no longer a forgotten corner. Great love has quietly made its way in. It's now filled with plenty of light and hope.
In mid-September, Typhoon Mangkhut swept through the Philippines, causing great damage to the Cagayan province. After city volunteers assessed damages at the end of September, they recently went to the disaster areas once again to hold an aid distribution for 1,625 families.
In mid-September, Super Typhoon Mangkhut struck the Philippines, causing severe damage to the Cagayan province of Luzon Island. In the aftermath of the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers went to the disaster area several times to care for the affected residents.
I feel sad because it is very difficult for us to restore our lives.
After understanding the needs of the typhoon survivors, volunteers in Manila recently traveled to Cagayan province once again to distribute blankets, second-hand clothing, and rice to 1,625 affected families.
Although Typhoon Mangkhut did not cause great devastation here, they lost all their belongings. That's why today, many people came to receive the aid supplies provided by us.
Our village is located in a remote place and the roads are bumpy. Despite that, Tzu Chi is willing to come here to help us. We're very thankful. We don't think we're able to reciprocate their kindness.
Perhaps it is because of the typhoon that the residents in Cagayan can feel for those who suffer in the Indonesia earthquake. They are willing to carry out the act of giving to help others in need.
The compassion of these residents really moved many people. Even though they were affected by Typhoon Mangkhut not long ago, they were still willing to contribute their share. Some people donated only 50 Philippine pesos, but I could see their sincerity to help the needy.
Besides making donations, the typhoon-affected residents also pray piously for the Indonesian earthquake survivors.
Thailand Tzu Chi volunteers have inaugurated a recycling and educational station behind the Jing Si Hall. They've also planted organic vegetables at the DaAi farm next to the station. The volunteers hope to promote an eco-friendly lifestyle to the public.
With a simple ribbon-cutting ceremony, the recycling educational station opened at the Thailand Jing Si Hall. Representatives from police offices and educational institutes have all been invited to participate.
We've caused much pollution to the environment in the modern age, such as overusing plastic bags. It's a wonderful idea to establish a recycling and educational station because we need to join our efforts to protect the earth.
Behind the Jing Si Hall is a recycling area, a DaAi farm, and a DIY classroom. The volunteers hope that by promoting the 5R concept, more people will practice recycling in daily life.
I've been thinking about reusing some recycled goods and turning them into art pieces or some gift. This way, the public will be motivated to come into the recycling and educational station.
It would be great to have more people join us. They can help us in future activities and also do good deeds together to serve society.
Even though the inauguration ceremony is in October, the volunteers have been preparing for the event since May this year. 68-year-old Su Yue Kwang comes here almost every day because this is the center of her life after retirement.
Doing recycling is not only for others, but mostly for us and our future generations. It would be more efficient if everyone can work together.
Bangkok Tzu Chi volunteers hope that through their actions, many more would join them to practice environmental protection in everyday life and make the world a better place.
In our next report, we'll meet an elderly recycling volunteer who is extremely hardworking. 76-year-old Tian Dehai is a veteran who has been doing recycling at Tzu Chi for more than 10 years. In addition, he also volunteers at Kaohsiung DaAi Kindergarten, helping out with keeping the environment clean.
田是我3岁，师伯5岁，我猜师伯6岁。
我就是每天这样哈，我表示我自己哈。
This is how I build up my physical strength. To live, we must move our bodies. It's great to walk back and forth like this.
我每天都来回这样走哈，很棒。哎，早。 我这个眼睛右眼有青光眼，现在就完全靠左眼。
My right eye has glaucoma and I rely on my left eye. I have a poor sense of direction. If my wife points out the road to me, I would remember it. But once you switch direction, I would not know where I am. Back then, it was dark and I was in a hurry. Therefore, I had a fall.
谢谢。我来这边已经11年了。我有时候
I've been coming here for 11 years. I sometimes plant flowers, water the plants, and sweep the floor.
I feel that Uncle Tian is a member of DaAi Kindergarten. I say that because he's familiar with the parents. If the parents nag their children, he would tell the parents how they could communicate with their kids.
一些比较正面的一个方式。
啊，小朋友。
Uncle Tian is very adorable, and he has been helping out with the cleanup for a long period of time. My oldest child is about to become a 5th grader already.
Uncle Tian gives these children great encouragement. He is here every day, and he has done a good job with gardening here.
As I come here to interact with the children, I feel very joyful. I do not have any frivolous thoughts. My personality has softened gradually since coming here.
过来这边捡哈，小朋友这边捡一捡哈。我在讲祭祀堂真的是一个很好的道场，要求我自己啊。
I think that Jing Si Hall is a great cultivation ground. I make sure that I am humble as I cultivate my blessings here. As long as we are considerate, everything will be fine.
早，师姐，早安。早。
He is like our elder. When we are in need, he will help us. Not only does he do recycling, he also shares with us life wisdom.
我什么我都可以做啊。
I can do anything. It's just like when I am at the Jing Si Hall. I would shoulder the work as long as I am able to. I will do it with joy. That's what I say.
我做得欢欢喜喜，我都这样讲。
Tzu Chi recycling volunteer Chen Qinglian became a volunteer in 2013. She started a recycling point under her apartment complex. At the beginning, she was met with many challenges and oppositions from the neighbors. However, due to diligence, her actions motivated everyone. She was able to recruit many donating members who eventually became Tzu Chi volunteers themselves.
The first floor of the apartment was filled with all kinds of recyclables. Chen Qinglian has been doing recycling work for 5 years under her home. However, it wasn't so smooth at first.
The truck would come in, but it was very hard to convince them due to the type of recyclables I had. It was all glass and plastic bags that weren't worth much.
If it's the right thing, just do it. Chen Qinglian did not give up. She later applied through the apartment management unit, a small space in the parking lot, to be used as a recycling spot. However, other challenges came her way.
The residents stated that it was a private area. When I used this to collect recyclables, they would get upset. So to avoid conflict, I would make multiple trips down here just to sort all the daily recyclable goods. I would keep it all very clean, even to the point where they wouldn't be able to see it. I would store it all very neatly.
Every day she takes recycling very seriously. Eventually, over time, her dedicated actions really touched the surrounding neighbors. That's why everyone was willing to join in the efforts.
I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. And then, over time, it started to have a positive effect on the other residents. They started to become my donating members, even now has officially become Tzu Chi volunteers themselves.
It's great to see everyone coming together to do good deeds. There are more and more recycling volunteers in the community now, so the transportation of the recyclable is no longer an issue.
Residents in long-term care centers are often lonely because they're separated from their families. To encourage the residents of a nursing home, Kaohsiung Tzu Chi volunteers and a harmonica teacher played old songs for the seniors to sing along with, hoping to bring back their sweet memories.
Volunteers warmly greet the grandma, just like visiting their own family member. They hold the grandma's hand tightly to express their love. Residents at the nursing home sing along with volunteers cheerfully. Despite being ill, the senior's voice is still loud and clear. There is also a musician to provide musical accompaniment for them. The harmonica teacher played one song after another, hoping that these old songs can bring back these seniors' memories.
I want to cheer them up with old folk songs. I played the harmonica and they sang along. Many of them even danced with the music.
On the day of the visit, the rain was heavier outside the institute, but it did not stop the volunteers from coming here.
Tzu Chi volunteers are willing to come even though it's raining outside, and I sincerely appreciate this commitment.
Volunteers' companionship continues rain or shine because they want the residents to keep a happy mind. The volunteer serves the dessert to the senior resident, hoping that with their love and care, they can have a more comfortable stay at their nursing home.
In the Philippines, Tima has held a free eye clinic in Tacloban, serving more than 500 residents. Among the volunteers was 20-year-old Lisa, who's cross-eyed. Besides the patients with cataracts, Elisa will also get a chance to undergo the necessary surgery. At the free eye clinic held by Tima in Tacloban, 20-year-old Elisa has come to volunteer. As she guides the patients to undergo the checkups, she covers her right eye with her hair. Fortunately, the mindful Tzu Chi volunteers have discovered the reasoning behind her actions.
I'm really happy. I've lived with the problem for 20 years already. I was born cross-eyed, and now I finally have the chance to undergo the necessary surgery, free of charge.
Besides the cataracts patients, Elisa can also undergo the corrective surgery for her crossed eye issue. A total of 562 residents have come to take the medical exams, and volunteers from Manila and Ormoc have all come to help out.
I hope my children, my grandchildren will follow my step, doing good things.
The doctors not only check the patient's eyes, but also their blood pressure, blood glucose levels, and use an EKG to scan for signs of heart disease. All this was done to ensure that every patient who undergoes surgery are suitable for each operation. This is the 5th year that Tzu Chi has held a free eye clinic in Tacloban, hoping to restore the eyesight of more residents. To celebrate the Double Ninth Festival, Tzu Chi volunteers in China's Wuxi joined hands with the Social Welfare Center to hold the event. At the occasion, the volunteers performed sign language and the seniors also sang with joy. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.